welcome back to the Gcor show. Today we're going to be talking about, it's like a season review up to this point, of all 10 teams, and whether I think they've, overachieved, underachieved, whether I think they've done well, whether I think they can do better, that kind of stuff. But without further ado, let's get into the video. So today, as I said, it's like a season review, and we're going to start off with the championship leaders, or constructors standings, Red Bull. This season, I think Red Bull have been... I think they've been good. I do. I think they've been better than last season. Obviously, having two consistent drivers helps. Now that they've managed to get Foop into the team, and Foop's had a very good season. I think Foop. I know he, struggled midway through the first part of the season with all those DNFs, but I do think that Foop, on his day, as I said in the other videos, I think he's up there, and obviously he managed to show that at Saudi Arabia with that win. I think Dino Bambino has been, fantastic this season. I think that he's been very quick. He's, those two race wins at the start of the season were very, very much deserving. Especially the one at Japan where he started with his P7, ended up winning that race. So I do think that Bambino is also, he's brought his A game. I think, to be fair, they have shown some signs of cracking here and there. I think, it is a shock that Bambino hasn't got pole so far, but you already know that's coming very soon. But overall, arguably, they do have the best team lineup, and this championship fight between them and GN7 Mercedes is going to be very interesting. On to the next team, which is GN7 Mercedes. I think they've done a brilliant job as well. I think the belief, the team spirit, and the general atmosphere around the GN7 camp is very, very positive, I think. Chick, he's managed to, bring that spirit up. Even when GN7 seemed to be off the pace, they still end up getting a very good result, like we saw at Saudi Arabia, where they were very much off the pace. Qualified P6, P7, ended up getting a podium with the P2. So, yeah, I do think that's been their strongest, their strongest feature this season. And, I mean, they're only 1 point behind Red Bull in the constructor standings as it stands. So anything can happen, but definitely this first half of the season has been very good for GN7 Mercedes. But they've got to keep on working hard. They've got to increase their work rate by, I'd say, another 5-10% if they want to keep on, fighting toe-to-toe with Red Bull. On to the next team, which is Williams. I think, they've had a very good start of the season. Right now, currently third in the constructor standings, and, Hurricane, he's managed to assert himself as the number one driver at the team. He's managed to get everyone at Williams, behind him. He's managed to make that team his own. The same way Dino Bambino has made Red Bull his own team, how, Giconas, how Mercedes have built the team around him, and even Coward at Aston Martin as well. I think Hurricane now, he's managed to do that with Williams, and everyone is totally behind him. He also has a very good teammate in Cyrax, who's still learning. Don't get me wrong, young teammate, still learning, but the signs have been good. At one stage, he was actually 5th in the standings, So I do expect Williams to definitely be fighting for the P3 for the rest of the season. And if they finish P3, I think that'll be thoroughly deserved, Hurricane has had a brilliant start to the first half of the season. I know the last couple races haven't been, to the standard he would have wanted, especially with this amazing form he had, but still, he's third in the Drivers' Championship. Williams are third in the Constructors' Championship. And there's still, a long way to go in this season. So I think Williams can be proud of what they've done. On to the next team, which is Aston Martin. Since Coward's left the team, I think the team has declined. I think they were they leading the constructor standings at one stage? I think they could have potentially been leading the constructor standings. I don't know, maybe race 2, or maybe they were... No, actually, I think they were second. I think they were second, now I think about it. But yeah, they were doing really well, but now they're falling down to 4th. Nas now is the number one, undisputed number one driver at the team. and he's got to get the team around him. He's got to first of all, he's got to start turning up to some more races. I think he's very unlucky because Nas is one of the fastest drivers in Gcor, especially over one lap. But it's just a reliability. We saw it even last season. Reliability was his biggest rival. And Aston Martin, arguably the greatest team, or definitely one of the greatest teams in Gcor history. So I do think that they have that additional pressure to perform week in, week out. But give give the Silverstone based team a couple more races to really judge them. I think it's still a little bit early now that obviously Cowdy left about 3 races ago. So give them a few races to really, have another verdict on them. See what we say then. Alpine. This team's been very unlucky so far. 5th in the constructor standings. If you were to tell me that they'd be 5th, halfway through, Gen.3 Season 2, after having, seeing their season last year, I would have been like, no way. I think they've been, terribly unlucky, and, well, they definitely need a consistent number 2 driver. I think Juan Watkins, obviously, he's shown his pace, however, he's not been, consistent enough, turning up, this, that. And, well, rumours are they are trying to secure Coward into a seat, at least for this season, potentially next season. But they do need a consistent number 2 driver to be anywhere near the top. I think Matt, he struggled this season, and him not getting a podium this year, I think, has damaged the feeling within the Alpine camp. I think a podium is what they need. I think if they get a podium, especially on midget Matt's side, I think, the belief will increase, and I think the feeling and the vibe around the camp will also increase as well. Next team on this list is actually Haas, the team 6th in the Constructors' Championship. Now that Noah is a Haas driver, obviously, he had that brilliant drive last time out at Monaco, finishing first on track, but second, obviously, because he had that 3-second time penalty. But now that Noah's at the team, I think that Haas, I think they're in a decent position. I think because Noah is a Haas driver, through and through, I think they can now trust him and put all of their eggs into that basket. With Skiprat, you see, Skiprat is a GN7 Mercedes Academy driver, so obviously Haas know at any point if Skiprat gets a call, he's not thinking twice about it. He's going straight to GN7 Mercedes. So now that Haas have their own driver that they can trust, and Noah, I think, although he's not won a race so far, he is a proven race winner, as we saw at Monaco. So that should be quite interesting, and whether they can finish higher than 5th this season, I think that'll be a question mark. But I definitely do think that should be their objective. Battling with Alpine if they keep on struggling. Aston Martin, definitely, I think I can see them battling them. But yeah, this year definitely has been a better season than last for the American-based team. Next up is the team 7th in the constructor standings, which is McLaren. They've been quite quiet this season. They've been quite quiet. They've been getting points here and there quietly. But you can see that there is great potential. I think that both drivers have done a decent job, Starworld and Lando. And as I said, I think there is potential in both drivers. They've just got to, finish. The more they finish races, the more experience they'll gain. Unsurprisingly, so as long as they just keep it clean, pick up points here and there, maybe in a crazy race, pick up, I don't know, a P4 or something. Maybe even a podium. I think that'll be good. But again, McLaren, another team which is having a better season than last. AlphaTauri now, team 8th in constructor standings. This is a weird one because the other team actually who stole Coward, who took him away from Aston Martin. Well, since Coward's gone to AlphaTauri, he struggled a lot. I don't know whether it's the environment or what the team feel. But Coward has struggled a little bit. Obviously, he's trying new things for the the long term. Which if they go well, okay, it looks like he's struggling in Gcor this season, but who knows? Maybe in the future seasons, Coward will be the force to be reckoned with once again, especially with, you know, him trying to go all out with no assists. So definitely, I do think. Obviously, it looks bad from the outside, but if you really dig deep inside, it's not too bad. I think with Coward and Blaze at the team, I think Blaze will learn a lot from Coward. Obviously, that's if Coward stays. Obviously, there's those rumours that he might be going to Alpine. But as I said, Coward and Blaze at the team, I think AlphaTauri, as long as they, again, finishing races, as long as they can finish races, get decent points, I don't see why they can't finish in the top half, you know, in the top 5 of the constructor standings. Going to the final 2 teams now, we've got Ferrari. And well, the first thing for Ferrari, they've got 2 decent drivers in GR63 the GOAT, also known as Jake, and Juice Lillman. You know, 2 decent drivers who I can see being, you know, race winners in the future. They've got 2 decent drivers, but it's just, you know, turning up to races. That's the biggest thing. That's the biggest weakness. They're not turning up to enough races, and I reckon if they did that, they'd definitely be ahead of the likes of McLaren, Haas. I know now they've got Noah and AlphaTauri, but yeah, they just got to turn up to races, and when they are racing, just stay out of trouble. Really, pick up points there bit by bit, and who knows, maybe that's how, you know, maybe that will be how Ferrari become a force to be reckoned with in the future. And I think for the final team, Alfa Romeo on this list, same thing. Both their drivers just gotta, you know, start turning up to races, staying out of trouble, trying not to be in the media. You know, I feel like Type Z and Peter Plays are the scene. Yeah, I think Alfa Romeo. I think Type Z and Peter Plays, they're seen more actually in the paddock than they are on track, which is, you know, that's a big problem. You know, so as long as they can stay out of trouble on and off track and turn up to races, I don't see why they can't excel for the rest of the season. But yeah, that's been my short review. Let me know what you guys think and whether I'm right or not, right or wrong. And the next Gcor race will actually be next week, round Kota. Obviously, 1 week break now, halfway point of the season. So yeah, hopefully we can see you then. Thank you and goodbye.